Great, Maria. Let's give 5 more minutes just to wait for people to come in. But what is some of the expectations, goals that you have with this meeting of today?
Yeah, well, so my idea is that we try to get a better understanding of what guests are looking for when they travel and when we can exceed our expectations. Also, by offering them of course, what is attainable to us, but at the same time, what maybe they don't expect, but will definitely improve their experience overall. So definitely, I do expect being able to transfer clearly the knowledge on how to work on upsells, when to better view or understand what the people are needing and wanting, depending on the season, the time, etc. And then, of course, I hope that we are clear as to explaining how to set them up and how when people will be able to book for them and how we can manage them also accounting wise.
Great. So if you allow me to say, just nice and simple, this is all about surprises and experience somehow, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Should be about the surprise and experience, but at the same time, maybe trying to find what they don't even know they need
Yeah.
to be able to also boost our occupancy. When people start to mention on your reviews, it was so good because they helped us manage the shuttle transportation from the airport, and it was very simple, even though we came in super late at night. Now, when somebody is checking to book a property on a different time a year, just by the fact of reading somebody else having had a good experience over an extra service is something that is helping you confirm that reservation later as well when somebody's checking. So for me, that's very important.
Indeed, indeed. And that's a really good point. You advanced some of the main things that we're going to recap today, mainly. And I believe there is a lot of information. We're going to try to stick a little bit to the agenda, but obviously, as you already have a lot of knowledge and operational wise in the sector, I think will be really valuable. So let's just give 2 more minutes. We're going to be somehow conservative and start with the main ones. So upsells, additional fees, how we can increase a little bit in Rent and Ninja this boost, as you were saying, in revenue. Let's just do a quick introduction, if you don't mind, Maria, in terms of for this specific sector, mainly for you. What's been the fee and service that has worked the most, as you already been a property manager for over uh, almost 20 years? So, what will be a good experience that you will give? Uh,
There's no right or wrong answer here. What I have definitely learned is that it really depends on the region. It really depends on the time of the year that people are coming, and it also depends on the type of clientele that you're getting. For example, during school vacation, it can be really interesting to offer extra services that are entitled for families, for
mhm,
instance. But then on high season, maybe it's rather something that is looking for experiences like renting bikes or being able to purchase your shuttle transportation when you're traveling on a group instead, things like that. So it really makes a big difference depending on the area. If you're having physical check-in or if there's public transportation. In my personal experience, I think late check-ins, early check-ins are the ones that tend to work very well. Everyone wants to check in earlier. And then again, if you don't offer it as an upsell, it's something that you're giving away for free.
mhm. Most of the time people do it that way. I tend to see it in many configurations, and then it's a way that you can monetize. And I really like something that you say is actually find the IPC, right, the ideal client profile, and define it for our specific, in this case, listing property that we want to target in the different OTAs. So thanks for that. That's a really good and important point. And I think that's one of the main takeaways that we have to take for today: define who we want to target and define which are the different fees and services that we want to show, right? So
So
if you want to say something now, otherwise we can go to the agenda, review what are the different steps of today's journey,
yeah,
and
we
then that's I think most of the ones you're already familiar with the view of the guest portal that we have. So this is kind of a first layover. Later we'll be having a bit more in detail and see a bit more specifics about each of them. First of all, we're gonna review the basics, where's the ideas that we all know about upsells, and some specific things that might be somehow interesting facts and about the expected behavior. Then we're going to look at the theory, so the kinds of upsells, some recommendations that Maria and I will be giving you, and also giving you some prices. Depending of your region, this might vary and depends on the type of client also, and property obviously. And then we're going to review the guest journey, so you know specifically in Rent a Ninja how upsells work, when the clients see them, and who are the the visuals for them. And then obviously Maria is going to explain you step by step how to do this configuration to make sure you optimize and tailor this approach for your clients. Obviously, if you have questions, doubts at the very end of the day, you will have this option. And as far as I know, I'm going to see if we have any polls in here, so you can also reply in case you have. Um, so let's just publicate this one here. Do you currently offer any upsells currently right now? And then if you could submit the vote, that would be great. So we can see a little bit, use a few early check-in, late checkout. Those ones are, as Maria was saying, the main ones, the most relevant. But we will see what are some of the options. Where's the portfolio that we have available? And obviously depends on your location, what you will be able to target. Great. Um, and we'll first of all give you some specifics. Obviously, you all know why upsells is important and relevant increase for your revenue. Means that increase the ticketing for each of the reservations, and those ones are not subject to the commissions of the OTAs. So this is a good way of just increasing a bit more in the guest
I
satisfaction.
think this is very relevant that we pointed out. We need to understand and see additional services as a new revenue stream that does not come from the booking platforms that we're using to get our reservations confirmed. That's crucial because then from here we can develop a lot of business idea around this.
Totally, and it's a good way of defining our portfolio. So instead of just having all the eggs in one basket, kind of differentiate yourself with the different competitors. So this is a different point that we obviously have in here, and we tend to quantify. Depends of your location, but they can represent up to 10 to 30% of your revenue. So that's a lot in terms of improvement somehow. That there's a big room for improvement for all of us, and obviously that we tend to see that guests like having these fidelity programs, and obviously these types of services that are personalized and tailored for them. So this is also a good point, right? Why this is important for property managers, mainly all the points that we were covered, but only that because also as we were saying, increase the margins between the different OTAs and whatever we're having. So this make us a bit more performance in the KPIs that we will be having. um, this is all about experience and perceptions about the guest. Means that comfort, convenience, and exclusivity, those ones are able to target with the different fees and services. This means that you can differentiate yourself other than the competitors, and then have this specific niche relationship with the clients. So I'm sure, Maria, you had experience like that, not only as a property manager, but also as a user, in terms that whenever you go to a ski resort and you find that they also have the ski equipment, you don't have to wait lines. Things are a bit more easy to experience, right? And then you recommend this to friends, family, and then we all know how that works. It's just kind of the fidelization and ratings, which
Every time more also people, when you find a good spot, you have a good vacation, people tend to come back if they know some things are arranged, you know. Sometimes when you need to, yeah, if you're looking for, let's say, the adventure of traveling, of course it goes one way. But when you're looking just to have your like time off or go skiing or things like that, and you know that the previous location you went to worked very well, you got the shuttle transportation sorted out, you were able to book your ski equipment in advance, and the trip overall worked out for you very well, then you're most likely getting that client back again next ski season, you know. So it is definitely helping a lot. And sometimes we undermine this. It is helping a lot to generate this engagement with the client, boost your review for that particular experience, but then that becomes in a loyal client. So that's
Totally.
very important to understand and play things in our favor for this regard.
And this actually works really well with our CRM that we're building right now with the clients management tool that we're having. So stay tuned. That's going to be something that you guys are going to like. And obviously, as Maria was saying, in order to reduce the dependency of the different OTAs and to boost our revenue, having this market share that we could use spread out, or maybe find different partners to find different partners right in the area for renting and for any other place. So now let's go a bit more into practice. We already seen a bit of the theory, but here are just some examples that we're giving you with some specific quotas. And as we were saying, right, obviously take into account this for European market mainly, but you can also extrapolate this to US or any other currency. And mainly, as Maria was saying, early check-ins, late checkout, those ones, the frequency vary a lot, and we suggest to put a price per hour. Most of us, sometimes we don't do it that way. We just put it a normal price, and then we lost this market share instead of just adding 2 3 hours of a price, and this will enable you to gain a bit more revenue. And some of you guys might already giving it for free, so might as well just take profit and use it, or maybe just put a price and then be able to give it for free, so guests will be able to find that you're doing some effort for them, right? Instead of just putting any price, right? I'm
Even
sure.
if you
Yeah,
even if you charge 0 or 1 euro or only 5 euros, the fact of listing it as an upsell makes the guest understand that this is something that changes your logistics, makes your life a little bit more complicated, and they value the fact of you giving that, let's say, extra time for them better than if you just don't say anything about it, or you just don't even put it as an extra.
totally, totally. I do agree with that. And that's actually some of the questions that we'll use had a pool on there. Which types of upsells have you worked best for you? And then if you could just say for you which one has been the best one or the most reliable, it will be convenient for us to know a bit more in detail. But I can see that the early check-in and late checkout, at least for now, is the main one that we see people use. I see people buy, and obviously one of the rotation and the volume that goes along with that. Then experiences. Obviously, when we travel, we all want to have an experience, something that is unique, right? That's why we're trying to go out and going out of the normal thing. So that's why wine tasting, guide tours, cooking classes, anything that might be specific to the location or something tailored would be great to add. Think about it. Obviously, better views if you're working as a multi-unit, or if you work with the different options to upgrade different, if you have a jacuzzi or anything that you could add to the upsells section in Rental Ninja, it's more than welcome to add it. And obviously, prices, as you can see in here, they vary a lot, depends of the specifics. We'll like once we go out some transportation. If you're in Thailand, as we have some clients, scooters might be a good thing for renting. If you're in Europe, bicycles, we like to have that options available, and obviously baby gear and anything that is for, especially for what we have in Barcelona for the babies, Barcelona, Maria. Do we have the
What do
baby
you,
one?
like the trolleys and things
Yeah,
like that, or the baby beds, the cots?
exactly. Those ones are pretty good ideas too.
Yeah.
So
And
for
also, typically, like if we speak about babies, which is something that tends to be
mm,
not charged. When a baby is added to a reservation, you typically don't charge anything for those nights of the baby to be added
yeah,
into the reservation. Instead, if you offer like a kit package where there's like the high chair, there's maybe toys, there's maybe even the diapers, things like that, then you're kind of justifying that this has a charge.
yeah.
So you're monetizing things while providing value to the end user that is definitely simplifying their trip.
And also you're trying to target for family friended, and those specific things also they add some value for if you put in the description for booking and Airbnb. is always as we were saying.
Trolley itself, how hard it is for a young family to travel with the trolley, with the little car. So, what about just allowing them to use the trolley that you have, so they can just carry the baby along during the trip, and then when they get there, they get the trolley, and then they don't need to. So, we can always take one step further to look for the comfort of the people that will be implicitly impacting in the expert no no the experience of the guest.
Mhm. We all tend to do it maybe when we go as a guest. Obviously, used to know what we should like to have. So this is one specific example about that. Uh, Mid stays, clean. Those ones are something that are really tendency, like extra towels, laundries, anything that might have an extra price, and also it will add a specific. We're not competing with hotels, but obviously, if one guest is gonna stay for 2 weeks and he wanna have a full cleaning, this might be a good option.
Yeah,
Then
that's
shampoo,
the thing that is completely linked to the
task management tool that
and the actual taxes that you need to pay depending on what services you're offering. So the cleaning thing is something that if you do offer midterm cleanings, I suggest you or recommend you to come to the following webinar, which is going to be the last one in a couple of days on Thursday, when we're going to be talking about taxes in itself. But for now, I think more
Mhm.
upsells rather than offer a mid stay cleaning. I rather think about the we named it the margarita effect.
Yeah,
Envision the cocktail margarita, right? So it's like when you offer a client something that is not even in their expectation, but you know that is going to create this emotional effect, then you're giving them a service that is worth much more the cost of the cocktail.
yeah, you're not selling a cocktail, you're selling the experience, kind of the commodities, right? Like the main thing of having a pina colada on the beach without having to move. So, same thing that links actually with the last one with the romantic package means if you're going with your date or you're gonna go something special and you want to have a treat and something, candles, champagne, or anything like that, and that will be a good way to welcome to the property and just to kind of make it a memorable place and location for the rest of their life if it's something that they're actually looking for.
Totally.
In terms of, do you want to add any extra service, something that we have forget about category maybe?
Well, if there's one thing that maybe I would say is that we can think of upsells to what adds value in terms of the housing, like the late check-in, the late check-out, the shuttle transportation, extra towels, name it. Or we can think of upsells as trying to take our business, our service, our value proposition to the next level. Like linking it to the margarita effect, I think that depending on how you use the upsells, you're not only, let's say, making it more comfortable for them while they stay at your house, you're making their stay at your house unique. And that generates an engagement with the end user, that this end user, this guest, will then be the first, let's say, ambassador that is going to be talking about you, your home, and the experience, amazing experience you gave them to all the friends, family, and colleagues. And that, once again, besides generating loyalty with your current guests, is also helping you, let's say, untangle or dissociate or lose dependency on the OTAs so much.
Great point. Totally. Yeah, especially to boost your direct bookings and then the referrals. Maybe with ambassador programs that will be an option, but also as we were saying, link with your CRM tool that we have and link with your direct website that you can create with Rent Ninja. Those options are just a great combination to win somehow on the, as you're saying, the business model that you want to create. Mhm.
Totally, totally.
Great point, and thanks for concluding or just finishing this section with the different categories. We will send you this in case it will be useful for you, so you have kind of an idea and somehow the expected prices for some of the specifics. And then from here, we're gonna give you a quick overview of the guest journey. what is the girl's journey looking like for now? Obviously, we have a couple new features coming really soon, which is some automations with SMS and be able to personalize some of the specific messages. So stay tuned, obviously, for that. But at least for now, we have the confirmation email that is being sent by the OTAs or our website if it's a direct reservation. And from this email, they will be having a section to confirm their details, but also a different section to book upsells or see the different list of the different upsells. Once they have already completed the guest portal and the guest guide, and they have completed all the different information, they will have access to the guest portal, where in this section they have all these specific availability prices that we're going to see in the next slide, which are the services. From here, obviously, they can change from different languages, so you can see it in here, the different flags, and the system is translated for the different personalization. Once they click in here, they will be able to do the payment through Stripe. It is true that we are allowed to have any Stripe account that you prefer. So mainly that each property will be linked to one specific Stripe account, or you can connect one Stripe account to all the different listings. Both of the options are viable. Specifically, if you work in France, this is one of the things that we allow and provide you. And once you have clicked in the section of services, you will be able to customize and select which are the different services that you will be able to select. And obviously, as you can see, you can add photos and a quick description so people can expect and see what the specific tailor approach. Right? So in terms of UI, it's something really um, well experienced for the guest. I think we all have a good feedback of this tool. And one of the good things that you don't have to find a different software to propose this. So we all do it in Rental Ninja, and is all in one is one of the unique value proposition that we have was in this case to be able to centralize everything. Maria, do you want to say anything from this view?
Now, one thing that I do want to mention, if you guys are using the guest portal and your clientele tends to come from different countries,
Mm,
make sure that you add the upsells in the different languages as well, because that will again be linked to the language that the guest is viewing the guest portal on. So make sure that you do the translations for those to keep that experience really tight, you know.
great.
Again, we want to make it like it's built. We want them to see this as it was built only for the reservation. So seeing the entire thing, if the guides are in German, but you don't have the upsells in German, that's not really.
Mm. Yeah, we'll try to have that synergy and that synergy. So meaning that everything is using the same process. I mean, with languages, with everything. So it will be tailored to the specific property owner. In this case, the main goal is that once the guest has already opened the guest portal, it will be on the language of the guest. If it's German, it will be in German by default. It does take the locale, so this is a great tool and is already optimized. The next section is going to be for you, Maria, which is the configuration. Means explain a little bit and guide us through this journey, how we create an upsell and where's the different visuals and how we can start maybe today doing this.
There you go. So essentially, to be able to apply the upsells inside your guest portal, we will mainly go through two big steps. The first one will be to create the actual list, just like you're creating a menu in a restaurant. You create the menu, the main course, the starters, etc. Same thing. We first go to the settings in the main menu of your account. So if you want to do it right now, we can just go ahead and do it all together. You will just simply go to the main menu in the settings tab. And once you're in the settings tab, you'll go onto the fees services section. And with the button that you find at the lower right side, you can start to create your services. In here, if you already have your account created with Rental Ninja, you will see that you already have some of your fees in here, the ones that are like cleaning fees, city taxes, if they were imported from any reservation or OTA. If your account is still on scratch, you need to start from scratch. Then at this stage, essentially what you will be doing is adding the fees here, whether they are extra services that you want to provide or mandatory fees, they're all defined in the same list. Here you set up the rate, the kind of service it is, and what the rate will be, how the rates will be defined for this service. Once we've got that list done, then we can already jump onto the rentals section. And for each one of the rentals, you can go to the rates and upsells section, which is the white menu part of it. And then again, on the lower right side, you'll find the add button. The main thing here is that now you define it in the next step. When you actually hit the button create, you define this as an, is it bookable as extra services? Then you need to say yes, it's bookable as extra services. If you don't, if you put it as required mandatory, it will not be added into the extra services list when that the guest will see when they go into the guest portal. Okay, so as John is showing on the screen here, on the first screenshot, the first section that you see that is squared in yellow, this one is the one that you need to mark yes, so it's available for additional purchasing. Here you can select yes, and then you define the languages that you want these fees to be added in. Okay, make sure you take this step. That's something you do once, you
Mhm.
put it up in one property, make it nice and neat, and then you can clone this information, those fees and services, out to the other rentals. So make sure you do it once, but you do it right.
Mhm.
Then you do the languages, and inside of each one of those languages you can actually add the description of it. This is important because, for example, you can choose on certain things. For example, if you have a late checkout that is defined depending on the time, by 8 p.m. I charge 15 extra, by 9 p.m. I charge 20 extra, then you want to define it somehow. If some of the features you're offering are only available during certain times or seasons of the year, you also want to define that in the description. Now, when that's done, you can choose to be able to book this service multiple times. That could be the example of purchasing extra towels, extra sets of towels. And then the next step will be just defining the icon. That icon is what the guest will see in the upsells page directly in the guest portal, and the color of that icon if you want to play with it. Lastly, and additionally, it's not mandatory, you can upload pictures of the extra services that you're offering. Now, once this is set up inside your account, inside the rentals tab, and you have the guest portal enabled, your guests will already be able to see those upsells or extra services directly on the guest portal. And when they complete the pre-check-in form, if you have it enabled, which highly recommend, then they will already be taken again to the upsells page, the URL unique that goes to the upsells page, so they can see additional services right after providing arrival, legal, and contact details. If there's any more like explanations or details that you want to suggest about upsells, you can also use the guide. For example, if you want to rent out bikes on one site as extra services, but then on the guide you want to mention about those guides that you rent in the upsells, you're making it like a little bit more unified. So even though the guest doesn't go straight to the upsells because he's not looking to purchase any extra services, but then he will go and visit the guide. So maybe he doesn't even imagine that you're offering extra services as bike rentals. You will, as a guest, you will not go and see it in the service list, but instead you will go and read the guide. And then in the guide, you can read that you can rent the bikes, and the tourist person that takes you around to do the bike tour and show you around, and maybe you get that guest to purchase the service as well. So
Great point. Yeah.
think of this guest journey as a whole, as an entire environment. And then in here, you basically guide the guest to what you think is better for them.
Great point, and it's great to have it symbiotic in a way of just. So I hope the process was pretty clear. Just to create, first of all, just to do a quick wrap up, creating in the configuration the portfolio of how many specific categories you want to create of specific upsells, and then from the rental in each different fees and services you will be able to add them really important as an extra service something you can provide extra. Add the right description with the right language, and obviously the icons and the image. I tend to see that the image gives a lot of personality to it, and people like it a lot. And once everything has been done, as Maria was saying, first of all, you will be able to clone it to all the different properties to make it really easy for you. So you don't have to do it over and over. You have 100 properties. We make it really easy for you. And then the visual for the guest is really easy also. Once clicking on the services, they will be able to do it. And something that I really like, as Maria was saying, obviously add a section with all the different tailor approach in terms to access the specific upsells that you want to maybe be a bit more niche or just propose to the guest. So he might want to create storytelling behind it somehow. Um, Personalized tour guides in bicycle or experience the vibrant city, anything that you believe to be the right approach. I'm sure you all are property managers and professionals, so I'm sure you guys got it on the right way. Mhm. Maria, from here, I think it's pretty much the same visual, just adding a little bit more in detail the visual, and mainly as you were suggesting, adding the right language is one of the most specifics. And this is just the preview of the configuration with some specific step by steps that we will send you, obviously, in case you need to have a bit more guidance. Um, but that's kind of a little bit of the recap of today. As we did before, Maria, right at the beginning, what is something that your takeover from the meeting, from what we had today? Maria, you mute. I'm sorry for to say, yeah.
I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. So I was just saying that for me, there's nothing like really new to this because I've already been applying it for a few weeks. What I do feel something that we would like to still mention on top of everything would be the accounting of
Great point.
the upsales. So once again, you know that at Rental Ninja, we're really trying to cover everything under the same umbrella. By everything, we mean everything. So if we are allowing you, enabling you to offer upsell services, we still want to give you the option to automate the accountancy of all these services as much as possible. So if you want to be able to add all these extra services into your accounting statements and payouts in an automatic manner, we can also do that through the strategies. In this particular case, we would be defining, we're not going to show any visuals on this, but if you guys are interested, just send us an email and we can have a quick video call to show you how that's done. In this case, what I do recommend would be that you add the services under the keywords of the services that you've added. And then, of course, assign these as an income or expense for whichever recipients will be handling those services. And then once you do it, you do the setup one time, this will be remaining to be automated for the rest of the times to come and times that it's booked. So once again, we're trying to wrap up the service that we're giving by the final checkup of the time these services need to be accounted for and maybe even invoiced for.
Great point. And actually, one of the things that I really like from one of the clients that we had last week, it was that we create a new beneficiary. That means that we create a new recipient, so we know exactly what is the amount perceived by different fees and services. So we can also quantify, and at the very end of the quarter or at the end of the year, we can see what is the percentage of the business that they're bringing to the table. So that's something that is kind of interesting to do. So you kind of know where's your best case scenario and which ones are the room for improvement somehow, right? We all have this specific room for improvement. I want to use benefit from that. And I think this is a great tool for that. Not only that, but my takeover, I'm sure you, Maria, is the same, but something that is simple to do, something that generates revenue, and something that give us power or empower us in order to have this not depending only of the specific OTAs, but a way to fidelize clients and a way to kind of generate a bit more revenue streams, right?
And mainly for me, engaging with our clients, making them feel special, making like we really target, like if you want something and we can offer it to you, we want to give it to you. And we want you to remember way after you've been visiting us.
Great
So
point.
that's one of the let's say, one of the key aspects we can use to touch their hearts in a way.
Hmm. Totally. Travel is just about experience, and we all want to be different in a way. So we want to try to find what is specific to our properties, to our location, to make a bit more tailored, a bit more specific. So I think that's a great point, and I think that's the best way to wrap up a little bit, right? Storytelling, something tailored, something personal, and something that makes somehow the lifelong term relationship somehow with the clients, right?
Tal cual.
Totally, totally. That's a good expression in Spanish. So, in terms of questions, doubts, things that, as Maria was saying, obviously, some of the questions that you might have, we can take them into account in a quick meeting. So, obviously, you're more than welcome to do this with us together and show us a little bit on your expertise, which ones are the things that are working, which are the things that you want to improve a little bit. Um, do you have any questions? Let me see in here on the chat on the questions group.
We're pretty good.
Yeah. Just do a quick wrap up on the statistics if you want, Maria. So in terms of upsells, big winner here, early check-ins and late checkouts,
Yeah.
100%. All of the people have choose those ones. And do you currently offer any upsells? Yes, there's a few. And then yes, we offer multiple. So we're even there, 50-50. And then obviously some of the people say that they will like to use their PMS to automate this. So I think this is a great tool and you're on the right place for that. So.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Other than that, I think we can call it for the day and
Yeah.
wish you a lovely afternoon to everyone. Thanks for attending and thanks for being here, part of the community somehow. And we will place this video online on YouTube. As you already know, we have a lot of content, videos, and information. So that's a place also to learn a bit more about us and see a bit more in detail. And well, we hope to see you really soon in a virtual room somehow, right?
Yep.
Great.
Maybe
Thank
one day we actually manage to do a live meetup at
that
the
will
residence.
that will be great in Barcelona or whatever it might be. But
Yeah.
Barcelona is definitely a good place for that.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Maria, for your expertise and always a pleasure.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.